There are places in the world that seem suspended in an eternal dream. Harrington Ridge was one of them, a small town lost between mountains where time stood still and where, according to the locals, the night was never completely dark. The mountains surrounding the valley had a peculiar shape, their slopes closing in like protective arms, leaving only a narrow opening to the night sky. This natural geological structure made the stars appear closer, brighter, and the wind descend in gentle swirls that caressed the grass instead of shaking it. But that wasn't why our team had traveled there. We came for the lights. The legendary wandering lights of Harrington Ridge, documented for over 70 years, observed by hikers, scientists, and tourists seeking an experience beyond the ordinary. Lights that seemed to float at low altitudes, move in defined patterns, and vanish without explanation. A natural phenomenon. Or something more. That's what I, Alina Vargas, the documentary's director, wanted to find out. Our team arrived in the valley as evening fell. The sky was turning a rosy hue, blending with the deep blue of the advancing night. Cold air descended from the mountains, and a scent of fresh pine filled the air. I recorded the first shots as we walked. We're arriving at Harrington Ridge, a town known for luminous phenomena that defy conventional explanations. We've come with a specialized team to document what happens here at night. Join us. Beside me, Tomas Rivas, our sound engineer, carried high-sensitivity microphones. Behind him, Isabel Cortez held her astronomical camera, designed to capture light in near-impossible conditions. Leo Hart, our meteorologist, checked his atmospheric pressure meter. And finally, in my case, traveled Mila, a mathematical analysis intelligence that, although without physical form, would become a key player. We entered the town just as the lamps began to turn on automatically, with sensors detecting the low ambient light. Harrington Ridge was made up of small houses with sloping wooden roofs and narrow streets winding between gardens and stone walls. There were almost no cars, no noise, just a deep, serene, but expectant silence. The team stayed at the Lorne House, a lodge run by a kind elderly woman named Beatrice. She had curly white hair and blue eyes that seemed to reflect the night sky. "So, you've come for the lights," she said, handing us the keys. "More teams like yours arrive every year. And have you seen them?" I asked. Beatrice smiled. "I've seen them since I was a child. Some say they're atmospheric reflections, others believe they're signs of something the valley has guarded for a long time. But I think they just do what they've always done, appear when they want to." "Do they usually appear at a specific time?" Leo asked, jotting in a notebook. "Not exactly, but always between 8 and 11. Though there's no guarantee," the old woman replied. "The lights don't obey clocks." She recommended we set up our equipment on the South Hill, the highest point in the valley. "From there, you can see everything. Even what you don't want to see." Her words hung in the air, ambiguous enough to send a quiet shiver down our spines. As night fell, we walked toward the hill. The lights of the houses faded behind us as we ascended the rocky path. The sky was a dark tapestry, dotted with stars that shone with a strange intensity, as if the firmament were closer in this valley. Tomas set up the directional microphones. Isabel prepared her cameras. Leo checked the humidity and pressure. I turned on my main camera. "We're starting the first watch of the Wandering Lights project," I said into the microphone. "The valley's inhabitants claim the phenomenon can appear anywhere in the sky when conditions are right." Suddenly, Mila spoke through the portable device I carried. "Initial reading complete. Atmospheric analysis in progress. Stable pressure. Humidity at 41%. Descending temperature. The pattern recorded by witnesses aligns with these conditions." I smiled. "Perfect, Mila. We'll wait." The wind blew softly. No one spoke. The silence of the valley seemed to hold something, as if an invisible presence was gliding among the trees. At 8:47 p.m., Isabel was the first to notice it. "Did you see that?" Tomas looked up. "What?" "There, over the north slope." I thought I saw a flash. The team stood still. Several seconds passed. Nothing. Maybe Leo began to say, but then it happened. A bluish light appeared, suspended in the distance. It wasn't bright, like a beacon, or dim like a firefly. It was something in between, like a sphere of pure light, floating about 30 feet off the ground. Tomas's eyes widened. "Is that?" "Yes," I whispered, thrilled. "It's one of them." The light remained still for several seconds. Then it moved gently to the left, then to the right, as if tracing a pattern. Isabel started recording. "No visible source." I don't see any drones or flashlights, she said, and… Wait. Another light appeared, a few feet higher, then another, and another. In less than a minute, 5 lights were floating in the valley. They didn't follow straight paths. They didn't move like man-made devices. Their movements were more organic, like jellyfish in water, but suspended in the air. Mila spoke again. Pattern detected. The lights form a mobile geometry. Data projection available if you wish. Alina, do it, I replied. On the screen, lines connected the points of light. They formed a pentagon that slowly changed shape, expanding and contracting. This is incredible, said Tomas. The lights began to spiral. Then they ascended together. Then they stopped abruptly, aligning in a perfect row. Leo murmured. That's not a pheno, but he cut himself off. Because something else was happening. The lights began to emit a sound. Very faint. A soft, almost musical vibration, like distant instrument strings. Tomas's sensors picked it up immediately. I'm recording, he said, adjusting the acoustic parameters. This frequency is not natural in known atmospheric phenomena. Isabel watched, fascinated. It's like they're communicating. I felt a chill, not of fear but of absolute wonder. The lights, still aligned, emitted one last bright flash. Then they rose at the same time. Silently. Until they were lost in the night sky. The valley was once again completely still. No one spoke for a long time. Finally, I broke the silence, my voice filled with excitement. We've just recorded the clearest luminous phenomenon documented in Harrington Ridge to date. And this is only the first day. We ended the watch. But as we descended the hill, something caught Isabel's eye. A figure, not human, not solid. A faint, luminous shape, like a reflection, resting on a rock. It lasted less than a second. But it was enough for Isabel to gasp. Did you see that? No one else had. I looked at her seriously. Describe it. Isabel hesitated. It looked like the outline of someone. Not clearly human, more like a silhouette. A reflection of light. But it wasn't being projected from anywhere. It was just there. I made a note. We'll log it for analysis tomorrow. The team returned to the Lorne house, still high on the adrenaline of what had happened on the hill. Beatrice greeted us with a calm smile and a hot cup of tea for everyone. The lights were active tonight, weren't they? The old woman asked. I nodded. Yes, more than we expected for the first recording. It was stunning. Beatrice set the cups on the round dining table. The lights always welcome visitors. But only on the first night. I frowned. What do you mean, only on the first night? After that, it's not the lights that come to you. She answered. It's you who start to move closer to them. The phrase was so cryptic that we all fell silent. Beatrice, as always, didn't explain further. After dinner, the team gathered to review the footage. It was an old room with stone walls and shelves filled with books and antiques. Isabel connected her camera to the monitor. Here are the lights, she announced. On the screen, the blue spheres floated over the valley. They were even more impressive than in person, moving smoothly in mathematically precise patterns. Leo pointed. Look at that. The third light's intensity varies each time it changes position. Tomas zoomed in. It's like it's responding to something. It doesn't seem random. I asked Mila to process the recording. Analysis initiated, the AI said. The lights appear to follow harmonic curves. No recorded trajectory matches known atmospheric phenomena. Probability of intelligent behavior, 41%. Isabel's eyes widened. 41%. Leo smiled nervously. Easy. That doesn't mean they're living things. It could be a complex physical pattern. I, however, was engrossed. We haven't seen everything yet. Fast forward a bit. Isabel did. And then something unexpected happened. In one of the frames, very briefly, appeared what Isabel had seen on the hill. A thin, almost transparent luminous silhouette, right behind a rock. Tomas paused the video. What is that? Isabel rewound 2 frames. The figure was barely visible. It looked like a person's shadow, but made of faint light, not cast by any real source. Leo leaned toward the screen. It doesn't match any recorded reflections. And no one from the team was in that position. Mila projected lines over the silhouette. Detection, not a reflection. Contour analysis suggests a 3-dimensional structure. Luminous intensity, lower than the main lights. Duration, 0.18 seconds. Isabel murmured, so, what is it? I took a deep breath. We don't know. But we're going to find out. We'll go back to the hill tomorrow. Later, in our rooms, everyone tried to sleep, though the excitement and mystery made it difficult. I woke up at 3:12 a.m. Something had stirred me. Not a noise. Not a sense of danger. More like a sudden clarity. From my bed, I saw my window was illuminated by a soft blue light. Not fully, but as if a luminous mist were floating outside. I got up cautiously and went to the window. Looking toward the mountain, I saw a phenomenon that took my breath away. It wasn't the wandering lights. It was something else. A kind of luminous haze was moving slowly down the hillside, like a bank of fog emitting its own light. It wasn't intense, but it was enough to give the landscape a ghostly tone. I recorded a short video on my phone. But the strangest thing wasn't the mist, it was the silence. In Harrington Ridge, there were always night sounds, crickets, wind, creaking wood. But now, nothing. An absolute silence covered the valley. I stood still, watching. The mist seemed to be moving toward a specific point on the mountain, as if following an invisible path. Suddenly, the light vanished. And the sound returned. I blinked several times. It had all lasted less than 20 seconds. I put my phone away and went back to bed. I didn't wake anyone. I decided I'd discuss it in the morning. The next morning, the team met for breakfast. I told them what I'd seen. Tomas was the first to react. A luminous mist. At what distance? On the north slope, I replied. It wasn't intense, more soft, as if lit from within. Isabel took notes. Can you show us the video? I nodded and played it. The quality wasn't great, but the moving haze was clearly visible. Leo analyzed the screen. That's not a normal meteorological event, he said. Light doesn't reflect off fog like that. It has to be coming from an internal source. But there isn't one, Mila intervened. Initial analysis indicates conscious directional movement. The mist follows a uniform path, not generated by air currents. Tomas's eyes widened. Conscious, what do you mean? Conscious does not imply alive, Mila replied. Only that it follows a systematic, non-random pattern. I was silent for a few seconds. Whatever it is, it's connected to the lights. Isabel nodded. And to the silhouette we saw in the recording. Leo sighed. This is getting weirder than I expected. But also more interesting. That same day, we climbed the South Hill again. We wanted to study the area where the silhouette had appeared. The wind was stronger than the day before, moving the low bushes and kicking up golden dust particles that shone in the sun. Isabel examined the rock where she'd seen something the night before. Here, she said, the figure appeared right behind this. Tomas placed microphones at different points. Leo analyzed the atmospheric pressure. I watched everything in silence. And then, Mila detected something. Anomaly found, the AI said. I moved closer. What kind of anomaly? Weak magnetic field. Fluctuating pattern. Present only at this exact spot. Leo took out his handheld meter and passed it near the rock. It's right. There's a very slight fluctuation. It's not dangerous, but it's not normal. Isabel took a couple of photos. And could this be related to the lights? Leo scratched his chin. Maybe. If the lights generate some kind of field, maybe it left a residue here. I scanned the landscape. The valley was beautiful, but there was something in the air,